Kenya, do you have a moment that I can speak with you for a second?
I'm getting ready to leave.
I don't know why in the hell Apollo wants to speak to me.
I promise you I'm not on no
Well,
bull.
the last time I saw you in Mexico.
Listen, we're not going to Mexico. This is a new day.
But your wife asked
Listen,
that.
it doesn't matter. My wife is not in this equation right now.
We are back to talk The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 7. And for this first video, we're going to be talking different subjects this season. And for this first video, I think it's best to start with Apollo, Phaedra, and their whole situation. Also, we'll talk about Kenya's side of that where Apollo is concerned, because I was calling her Kenya more whore during season 6, but maybe not so much.
I'm glad they ate your ass up about it in the comments, because
I don't know if they ate my ass up.
They did. They said that they didn't like that you were coming so hard for Kenya. And I agree.
I'm not necessarily treading hard completely, but we'll get into that as we go along this season.
Yeah, anyways.
We got to discuss, though, Apollo and Phaedra's marriage, along with Apollo going to prison for what, tax evasion or tax situations? Mm-hmm. Phaedra apparently not a part of it. She wasn't.
Allegedly.
But I mean, she wasn't a part of any naming of her.
No, I mean, and she's clearly not involved in the lawsuit, but there's no way Phaedra has no idea what her husband.
You don't think she had no idea whatsoever? No. You think she knew?
Yes. I feel like it was one of those things, even with Teresa and her husband, where it was like, do what you gotta do, but don't get me involved. And where Teresa fucked up, you'll kind of get to this with New Jersey, where Teresa fucked up was that, like, she was signing documents. But I feel like Phaedra knew and was just like, yeah, do what you gotta do. And when the hammer falls down, I wasn't in it. Protect my good name.
So you think Phaedra being a lawyer kind of saved her?
Maybe. Maybe she was advising him.
With this situation, you know, Apollo goes to court to be sentenced, and Phaedra's not with him. And I'm okay with that. I feel like that some of the other ladies were trying to say that that was a bad thing, but I'm like, why be there?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't considering his kids and what he was doing, so why does he deserve the support of his family, you know? That is kind of one of those things that makes me think that maybe she wasn't abreast of what he was doing, because, like, if she was, she probably would have held him down. Whereas, like, if she didn't know, she truly felt blindsided and was like, how could you, what?
I mean, I feel like it could go both ways. Maybe she still knew and was still just trying to save her image.
Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, that's valid. But I don't think she needed to be there, and especially with the kids. Those were young, like a toddler and an infant. Yeah. I don't think he deserved to have her there.
No, I agree. I mean, either way, though, I feel like, because one thing I said about season 6 was like, Phaedra's just letting Apollo get away with being a flirt and getting away with things.
Being a hoe?
Yeah, and in this situation, I'm glad that Phaedra kind of stuck to her guns and was just, like, not there for him, honestly. Yeah. Because clearly with that situation being, I don't know what happened between him and Kenya, we'll get to that in a second, but, like, also, he was a big part of that, kind of being a dick to Phaedra in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100% with the whole telling Kenya, or saying that he lied about Kenya's texts.
Well, yeah, but also just I feel like now that he's just a criminal, I just can't blame.
Well, he's always been a criminal.
Well, yeah, but now that he's a criminal again, I can't blame Phaedra for her position.
Okay.
But yes, with the whole Kenya situation, apparently, you know, he has this whole situation. I don't remember where they were, but there was a get-together where Apollo showed up, where Kenya and the other ladies were.
There was the opening of Bar None, or Sports Bar None.
Bar One.
Bar None.
Bar One. And, yeah, Apollo was saying that he lied about the whole situation with Kenya in LA, the whole fellatio situation.
Mm-hmm. You went around telling people that I saw you in LA. You had your wife telling people this story.
I'm not going into this again. I offered you an apology. I said I apologize. I should not have told my wife that you offered me fellatio.
What? Apollo is apologizing for lying about this whole fellatio business?
Why do you think he lied about that? Or do you think it was a lie?
I think Apollo laid out his reasoning very clearly, which is that You know, Kenya had said, oh, well, why is your husband still texting me? And, like, I think that genuinely the texts between Kenya and Apollo have always been harmless. But I think Kenya kind of opened that initial inquiry into the nature of their relationship. And from there, it just kind of went all the way downhill. And so it's like, well, you might as well lean into it. Bitch, you offered to suck my dick. How about that? So, like, I can't... Okay, what he did was wrong. I'm not going to say I can't see any wrong in it. But, like... Kenya, to me, as much as I am Team Kenya, kind of opened up that initial, like, you know, cause for concern when she said the whole thing about Apollo texting her. And he said that. He was like, you know, you kind of came at me first. So I was like, well, fine then, bitch.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, I believe Apollo in this situation that he lied. Because why would he then lie again?
Right. But he could also be lying to her Phaedra and to make her look stupid.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually.
Yeah.
So do you think that's possible?
No, I don't think... I think that he
You're
lied...
not just saying that as a Kenya stan?
No, I think that he lied to hurt Kenya. Because, like, I said it in the last episode, Kenya is not ugly. Kenya doesn't have to go out of her way to find a man. So the fact that she would be chasing so hard after, let's be real, you know, an ex-con, like, I don't really see that. I'm not inclined to believe Apollo's versions of things ever.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree because of Apollo's whole situation. Here again, and we're going to discuss this more during the different sections of this season, feel like this season tried to go into overdrive to redeem Kenya.
I'm just going to do what I feel is right. It's wrong to have dissed this woman about the situation for 2 years. So I'm going to apologize.
You know what? I have to say this, and I'm just going to say it, get it off my chest or whatever. When you said that those things didn't happen, I have to admit that I didn't really believe you totally. I guess, obviously, because, you know, my friendship with Phaedra is like, you know, I believe in her marriage, and I believe, you know, and I'm friends with Apollo as well. So I just kind of like, even though I tried not to side with anybody, I will say that I believe them more than I believed you.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to apologize because...
I know you had a struggle because I know it got really, you know, ugly with me and Phaedra. I've said that from day one. So when those lies were all around, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, if you want to sit here and go, oh, he said this and he said that, and yeah, Kenya's still this, you know what? Them.
Don't take it to heart, Kenya.
I get sick of this. I do. It's too much. It's like, really? The man just confessed that everything was a lie. And then you're going to sit up and still try to throw dirt on me? Like this? I'm sorry.
Oh, man. I didn't mean for this conversation to go there.
I was not expecting Kenya to get so upset. Like, I really didn't think she cared about everybody's opinions like that.
This was like step one of redeeming Kenya. But going back to, I believe it was season 5, flirting with Apollo, Kenya still played a part in it all.
Sure.
So, like, I don't want to get her off the hook completely for the situation.
Yeah, I mean, she was flirting with Phaedra's man, but I feel like if it was such a big deal, Phaedra should have checked it then and there. Like, the jumping in the pool should have been the beginning and the end of this story. When Apollo grabbed her waist and they jumped into the pool. So I feel like Phaedra's chance to, like, really call Kenya out on her shit kind of passed. And I don't really agree that the producers are trying to go on this whole, you know, arc to redeem Kenya's character. I feel like Apollo lied and needs to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, like I said, we'll discuss that part again, but we'll also save Mr. Chocolate for a future section of this video as well. So we get first of all, Apollo, he said this in the very first episode of the season, and then I felt like it took most of the season for him to go away to prison,
Yes.
which was annoying enough. But I guess that's what money does, maybe.
This man was supposed to check himself in, I feel like a week before he actually went to prison. Yes, it was crazy. But I feel like also Apollo's like at one of those like low security Martha Stewart ass camps.
Must be.
Not even prison. So like maybe it was never that serious to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But before he goes to prison, he shows up at Phaedra's kind of being manic, kind of...
So manic. Kind of.
Oh! Hold up! Oh! That's crazy! That is crazy! Why would y'all do that to me? Here's your garage opener.
Thank you.
Why would you lock me in my own house?
What are you talking about, Apollo? Changing the garage door openers?
That means I don't have access to my garage.
Well, you weren't supposed to be here, so I didn't know who you left it with. You're supposed to be reporting to prison today. Luckily, our children are with my mom, safe.
Oh yeah, my clothes. Can you please make sure that they get in my drawer?
What clothes?
My clothes in the laundry room.
What clothes? I
Oh,
don't...
your boyfriend has clothes here.
Oh, okay. What are you talking about? Let's have a key.
Come here for a minute. You gonna call the police on me?
No, I'm not.
Hello? Don't play me right now.
Well, he was definitely manic. For me, this was the first time watching the show that I felt like it was like acting almost, where Apollo was concerned. Because Phaedra's changing the locks and Apollo shows up and he's acting a fool, and then he leaves, but then he comes back again, acting a fool again. I don't know. It felt like a show.
Hopefully he says enough to turn himself in for the marshal, shoot him down like a dog. Paul, I'm sorry you had to hear that foolish outburst. Oh, Jesus, is this him again? Please, go away from me with this.
Okay.
Go away from me. Stop it, Apollo. I don't want to hear what you got to say. Stop it.
Listen to me for 1 second. Do not.
Well, you need to start acting like you got good sense.
Yes, but are you saying it felt like a show by producers, or...
I mean...
Because I do think that was kind of the point, right? On Apollo's end.
Maybe producers, but maybe just Apollo trying to put on a show, I guess. But, like, also...
Listen, Apollo gonna do what he need to do to get the motherfucking books paid, okay? He was like, I got one last fat-ass ATL check. Let me make sure that shit's good. I want the producers to pay me, not Phaedra. Because if Phaedra got to transfer the money every month, then he ain't going to get paid.
That's true, yeah.
He was like, I got my own separate contract with them. They going to put
So
my
maybe
money in the direct deposit.
Yeah. That's what it felt like to me, that Apollo was being over the top for the show. Do you think Apollo had ever gotten physical with Phaedra?
Like beat her?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily beat her, but just like...
I don't
super
know.
aggressive.
I don't like to consider those types of possibilities. I mean, clearly Phaedra didn't deny it, but I mean, to think that he could have been hitting her is really sad and unfortunate, and it, like, is not something that I really want to analyze, you know.
That's fair. But it was a topic at the reunion.
It was. But, like, that's such an awkward thing to... Was Apollo beating your ass? Like, that's just really... Like, I'm making a joke of it, but, like, it's not funny, you know?
So, Phaedra and Kenya's relationship, and I don't want to talk about the reunion yet, but...
Apollo did apologize to me, and he admitted to everybody that everything that he said was basically a lie. And I said it was untrue from the beginning. I feel like I've been vindicated, and I appreciate that. And I would just appreciate that you just allow me to have the benefit of the doubt, because to me that is, you know, the right thing to do. And that's what I would extend to any of you as well.
If you drink like a fish, you're an alcoholic. If your mood swings change from day to night, you might be bipolar. But I didn't start the rumor. Her behavior started the rumor.
Phaedra, I hear you mumbling under your breath.
I called you a whore and I called you a slut because if it looked like a duck, it quacked like a duck, and it's yelling, it's swimming a pond, it's a duck.
During the season, just like in season 6, Phaedra avoided a lot of talking to Kenya. Until one of their trips where it seemed like Kenya was willing to bury the hatchet a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she was actually willing? I mean, clearly not in the end, but...
Kenya or Phaedra?
Phaedra.
No, Phaedra's a Scorpio. There's no coming back from that. Kenya might as well pack it up. As a fellow, or as another fixed sign, you know, Kenya being an Aquarius, I think she would understand. Like, you're done. That relationship's over. You guys might as well work on being cordial with each other. But no.
This goes to my point about Kenya, though. Do you think she was actually trying to bury the hatchet, or this was more an edit to try and redeem Kenya?
I don't see what Kenya loses by trying to bury the hatchet. Like, nothing about Kenya being painted as this vindictive whore benefits her. So, yeah, I think she was sincere in her offers to Phaedra as well as to Nene, you know?
This is my problem with Kenya, though, and I don't care about the comments. Am I on the Kenya hate train? Who knows? But, like, in their first season, and even into season 6, she was always trying to be in mess. And I don't know if that was trying to have a job to stay on the show. Mm-hmm. But she was, like, always the antagonist. So now to watch her be like, oh, I'm the victim with Phaedra, I just don't buy it.
I mean, I think she is the victim in some regard, though.
How?
Well, the whole, like, her being painted out as a whore.
But she was always a flirt with Apollo, from what we saw on the show.
Well, I think Peter said it. We're not going to go into the reunion, but I think Peter said it very nicely at the reunion, where he was like, the same way Peter and Nene have this, like, dynamic with each other where, like, they talk to each other kind of rough and it comes off as flirting. I feel like Kenya and Apollo kind of had the same relationship.
Listen, I love Peter. As we know, I tried to establish that in season 6. Patricia, whatever you want to call him. But, like, I feel like now that Cynthia's with... On Kenya's side, he's going to try and stick up for Kenya, which is going to be our next video. But I guess to end part 1 of season 7... Is it Kenya more whore no more?
I think Apollo cleared her name. She didn't try to suck his dick at the hotel, so she's not a whore. What she did in Cabo, if it was truly such a problem. Because you have to remember, right? Like, Kenya flirted with Apollo, and then Phaedra made active attempts to still be cool with this girl. So, like, I don't think it was that much of a problem to where Phaedra was that upset, because, like, she would have checked it then and there. And, like, you gotta remember, like, some people's relationships are like that, where they're like, oh, yeah, I don't give a fuck if he really flirts, you know, he's a little flirt. And she might know that about Apollo. So I don't really think any of Kenya's actions have been outside of the scope of what Phaedra allows in her marriage until Apollo made the comments about the fellatio at the hotel, which was proven to be false.
I suppose. I guess that goes back to how I felt about Phaedra in season 6, that she was a little too lenient with the whole situation. I just don't think Kenya's so innocent. I'm sorry,
I don't think Kenya has any reason to chase Apollo. If Kenya is gonna chase a man, it's not gonna be the likes of an Apollo.
Well, what happened to our African this season?
Well, like she said, you know, she was the first person to get an African, and now all of a sudden everybody wants a fucking African prince. So